I'm Amber and I sing in Hadda Be.
I'm Ollie and I play the drums in Hadda Be.
I'm Ben and I play bass in Hadda Be. I joined back in January 2020.
I'm Matthew and I play guitar in Hadda Be, and I'm polite to a fault. Makes everyone awkward.
Now, Hadda Be's fairly new, isn't it? Because she was known as the Foundlings before that. So do you want to tell us about that transition? Don't all jump at once.
So it's I don't know how much we can say legally at this point. It's necessity.
Through the courts.
Yeah, yeah. We might fall foul of some sort of restraining order. No, we had a there was a band in the US who shared the same name, and they trademarked, in fact, that name. So it offered us an opportunity, I think, didn't it, to reflect on whether or not we, upon launching an album, kept that Foundlings name or did something else. And I think it was quite fun, wasn't it? We were doing like an acoustic thing in a park about 6 months ago or so, when you were allowed to do those kind of things briefly. And the person who was shooting that video was the person who shook us up a bit, wasn't it? He just clean break, and that was attractive, wasn't it?
Because we were going to, just to avoid the issue, we were just going to add something to Foundlings. But I mean, the reason we like that name, we liked it as it is, we liked it as Foundlings, so just adding something to it felt like a bit of a cop-out. So we thought we'd be brave, and
We thought the best time to do it was before we released the album as well, so like a clean slate, and obviously Ben joined the band as well, so it seemed like a good time to kind of rebrand a little bit.
Rebrand.
That's it. Had a band.
That was last year. That happened.
Yeah.
Was it November? I think, yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you all known each other then?
Bless you.
Met Matt probably about 5 years ago.
Yeah, well, me and Amber, we went to university together. So we both studied in London. So yeah, we met each other in 2013.
Yeah.
And we were in a band through uni. And then when we left, we wanted to, that band broke up, and we wanted to carry on making music. And then we met Matthew, and shortly after,
Bless you, Ben.
Bless you, Ben. God
Sorry,
bless you.
thank you.
And we met Brian, who was the previous bass player in Foundlings, and I think it was probably around November 2019.
2019, yeah. I think that was when I first sort of. So I answered like a shout out on Gumtree, and I think it was the most nice normal conversation I'd had with anyone on Gumtree, especially about joining a band. So yeah, I think we met up for a drink around in the December, and then just had a couple of practices together, and it seemed to work really nicely. So yeah.
Yeah, we're a 50% Gumtree band.
Yeah, we met as well.
Your ad was brilliant. It was must have nice hair.
That was it.
As a joke. It was a joke. However, Ollie and I have ever since had the same hairstyle, so it's probably no accident. But that, I mean, Gumtree ads, it's a wild space, isn't it? I think I momentarily joined a turbo metal band with monk vocals for the space of about a week whilst answering a Gumtree ad. That's sort of one for me. So it's always a relief when you find like-minded people in those kind of...
I've met quite a lot of odd people before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when Amber suggested it to me, I was very cynical about the whole idea of doing it through Gumtree. But I mean, it is kind of, there are so many bands that you read about who put an ad in the back of the NME or what have you, and that's how they met each other. It's just the modern equivalent of that, really. I don't, There's
not really music shops you go to anymore that have a pin board with looking for a guitarist. So that kind of seems like the modern, let's say, alternative.
And an ad in the back of the Guardian or something might be a bit expensive.
I'd say so, yeah.
Must like sourdough.
You know, the not so good ones. It's all right, isn't it? It's a bit like roulette, I suppose.
Yeah, speed dating. Then.
I think you just know, like, when we all met each other at the different times, you just, I don't know, you just sort of know when you've got stuff in common with someone and whether or not it's going to click. Like, even before you start playing music with them.
Yeah,
I think it's also important as well, like obviously when you're in a band you're spending a lot of time together, obviously not at the moment, but in some more normal times you'd be touring and together for long periods of time, so you've got to get on with someone. So I think it's a really important factor if you go for a drink with someone before you start playing music, and just knowing that you'll click. And the music kind of, it's obviously important, but for me kind of comes secondary really. I kind of want to be close and friends with the people I'm in a band with. That makes sense.
I
It's
think
not
the music
really technical metal or anything,
Yeah.
is it? Sorry.
oh, I was just gonna say the music turns out better, I think, if you gel together.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, you kind of have that connection more.
Yeah, it's
Talking
you
of
can be more
music.
confident. Oh, sorry, Jenny.
Who are your influences then?
It's hard. I think we've all got so many. I think we've got a lot of shared ones, but then we've all got our kind of individual ones as well.
Yeah, I think because the band's been going for quite a while now, I think we probably speak less about, well, I mean, from Foundlings, it's 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
Or something? 3 years?
Like 2018.
2018. Yeah. I think, I don't know, did we ever really talk about influences explicitly?
In the ad, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The ad.
And we never talked about music ever again. I think we recommend music to each other, I think, quite a lot. That's more the way it goes. I think we're all quite tuned into whatever's happening at the moment as well, and all sort of quite slavishly attend to Six Music as well. But that's, yeah, I mean, influences wise, I think we all carry a little bit in every now and then in different ways, don't we? Like I played mostly in punk bands and hardcore punk bands in the past, and so, you know, it's been there's no sort of natural place for that a lot of the time in the style of music that we make, but we found ways to bring it in anyway, and interesting ways to bring that kind of flourish in. And I think the same applies. I think, you listen to more singer-songwriterly sort of stuff as well, and so that comes through in a lot of the songs, you know, in a way that you know, I wouldn't be able to write songs like that, that's for sure. You know, so there's a nice way we've all got different touch points. I think, is that fair, you reckon?
Yeah. And I think I don't want to speak for you, Ben, but when we were recording the album, there was, you know, places where there were little flourishes of electronic stuff. There were a few kind of sound effects and things on the there's a few sound effects things on the album that we're going to be releasing, and I think, you know, I don't know if us three would have been able to do that, put it out. So that, you know, that was a kind of new influence. I think being a bit more experimental with our sound and what we try to do.
No, I like, my background's a bit more like, or part of my background is like electronic music, and it was nice to, you know, obviously when I joined the band just with a bass, I didn't really imagine myself thinking about electronic music all that much, but actually, like, coming to the album, I think, Amber, you mentioned a few like interesting sounds and a few like post-punk tracks that you sort of wanted to like emulate, and we tried to sort of piece that together, and it was nice to like put another like skill to it, and it you know, it sounds great for it, so yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah,
obviously. You said that it started last year. Obviously, COVID's happened since then. So what kind of effect has that had on what you plan to do as a band?
Well,
it
delayed. So we were supposed to be recording the album around this, well, I think it's sort of February or March of last year. So the actual recording of the album got delayed twice because of the restrictions. Yeah, and you know, it's sad to have to cancel gigs. We were supposed to be going over to Germany and Paris to play our first European shows. You know,
Wales.
obviously that pales in comparison to what people have been through, but you know, there was a lot of stuff we wanted to do last year that we weren't able to. But we did record the album, and it sounds brilliant, and we're really happy with it. So it's a real privilege to be able to have done that.
Yeah, and
the circumstances.
We try to adapt, like most musicians at the moment, doing online streams and online gigs, but obviously it can never sort of replicate the real thing. But yeah, we did get involved with quite a lot of online stuff as well.
Charity fundraisers and stuff like that. It was good to be able to contribute musically to something like that, to kind of help, you know, try and help the bigger picture a bit, I guess.
I think, and all of our video editing skills have improved, haven't they? As a result.
Oh yeah, get that full screen going.
We can make a mean split screen video now.
Split screen vids are on the menu. Yeah,
The fade-ins are just
on
point.
That's what happens when you get time, though, isn't
it? You start things up, don't you? Yeah. There's like you're saying, all as well, like it would be such a privilege as well to be able to do more over the next year, to get out and do some things. A couple of festivals, like we said, that have been postponed and, you know, might be postponed again, and, you know, it's looking increasingly like it's going to be another year of, you know, pretty similar, isn't it? But it's a challenge, I think, to stay connected. But I think what it will be like when there's a sort of return to something like normality will be absolutely incredible, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think I'm hoping that is reflected as well, selfishly perhaps, but in attendance at gigs and things like that, you know, people just sort of getting back into it. So I think there's an awful lot of people who, and myself included, you know, who've in the past said, you know, I'll catch them next time or something like that. But slightly shifted my perspective, to be honest. I think I'll be getting out an awful lot more than I was before. You know?
Yeah,
definitely.
That whole thing,
I think
you know what you
it's great having these live stream gigs.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
Go on, sorry.
Oh, something's happening.
I think we froze a bit.
Oh, did we?
Is it Jen's for us?
Am I froze?
We're out of sync.
I'm out of sync.
No, I think it was us.
You're okay now.
Yeah.
Everything good? Oh, we'll cut that down. Right. Oh, that happened. What was you saying?
What was I saying? Yeah, I think I was just going to say, it's been, as a consumer of music as well as being in a band, these live stream gigs, they've been pretty good. But we watched the Cribs, didn't we, Matt?
We did.
They did a live stream from the Cavern Club to promote their new album, and I was kind of like maybe about 65% satisfied.
Yeah,
it didn't really scratch that itch. It just made me want to go to a gig more.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just drinking beer at home by myself on top.
The reality of it, wasn't it?
Texting Matt.
That was
good.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess teases you a bit, kind of.
Yeah, totally.
You remember gigs, but not actually being able to do it.
Yeah.
I thought that the whole like sort of package of it is so different, isn't it? You know, like there was almost like a behind the scenes sort of intro to the Cribs thing, and you know, it was like it was very much like you were tuning into a pre-recorded event, and you know, it was produced, and it was, you know, it was a good product, if you like, you know, like you're happy to spend, you know, a tenner or whatever it was, you know, watching that. It was good fun, but that spontaneity and like, you know, the sense of surprise that you can get from gigs, and you know, that's and even the fact that some gigs can be really crap as well, you know, in a world where everyone gets like a few runs at it, you know, it's less likely, and I sort of miss that, to be honest, you know.
Get all the time barging and someone that's like 6'5" standing in front of you.
Yeah.
We watched that thing of Liam Gallagher bombing down the Thames as well. That kind of things like that have come up. It's a bit.
I mean,
gigs on the Thames.
That's the thing. I think if it's like that, I'd maybe just rather listen to the album, because it's so obviously pre-recorded, and there's no sense of spontaneity to it. I think because people are so used to watching YouTube videos of live gigs, something doesn't feel that special, I think, as much as a treat as it is.
It's the human interaction, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, and the pre-recorded things, like you say, they feel like mini films sometimes. It doesn't really have the rawness of gigs.
So talking of COVID, obviously it's had an effect on people's mental health and stuff like that. So I am asking everyone I'm interviewing if you have any advice for them.
I think just staying connected is really important. I mean, I know everyone keeps saying that, but I think, you know, obviously, whether you're working from home or going out to work because you have to, like, just checking in with people around you and not trying to deal with things on your own, because there's so much support available at the moment. Just making the most of it and talking about if you're finding things difficult. I mean, for me personally, I think if I keep things to myself, that's when my mental health declines. So just being open about it.
Yeah, big time. There's I've noticed a big change over like the past couple of weeks, even like in talking to not just like the people who I live with, so my partner, but also talking to my grandma, even, you know, like who with whom I would never have had a conversation about our relative mental health 2 years ago, you know. But that sort of question of like, you know, what's going on, how are you feeling, you know, like it's always boring, isn't it? And you sort of bash the day for a bit, you know, you sort of go like, well, yeah, it's a bit, you know, but you feel better. I think there's a bit of catharsis to that process, at least for me, and hopefully indeed for my grandma as well.
Yeah, and I think that's one good thing that will come out of the pandemic is people being more connected. I think especially in big cities, like the younger generation and the older generation are so disconnected, whereas it seems like now people are checking in on their neighbours, all the mutual aid that's been going on. So I think that will be a positive for people's mental health going forward.
Agreed. There's definitely a notable sort of benefit to a certain extent of like there's a lot more dialogue about care between people that you wouldn't otherwise have chatted to about it. And like I'm currently a student at the moment. Like I've got like my little cohort and we keep like checking in on each other and stuff like that, which is really nice. But like a practical answer to your question was like we keep getting told to like do like exercise breaks and like physical things, and I hate it. But actually, like halfway through like a 2-hour lecture, like 1 hour in, they're like, right, everybody get up and like jog on the spot for 30 seconds. And I feel like such a child, but actually it does make me laugh a little bit, and it does cheer me up a bit. And I feel like a bit of a bird, like jogging around in my room, but
I think that's
quite good. Does probably benefit. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not necessarily suggesting that we do this as part of the interview, but if you're feeling a bit down,
for at least 15 minutes now.
Yeah,
I reckon.
Star jumps up on the cards.
I've been doing leg presses this whole time. You just can't see it.
Well, I think that's some great advice right there. But going back to the happy times, I suppose. You've got a single out at the moment, and you've got an album out in April, I believe. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean the single's out on Friday, but it's been on the radio and in podcasts and things like that. So yeah, I don't know what the definition of out is. Yeah, I guess it is out. It's not on Spotify.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, Another Life is the first single from our debut album, which bears the same name. So it's the title track. Yeah, I mean, I think it really does. It does really exemplify what we wanted to do with the album in a whole. We really wanted to create something that captures us and captures the captures a certain sense of truth about the band. I think it's probably the most sort of honest piece of work that we've made yet. We wanted to record it live and do it quite quickly as well, so that we weren't spending too much time thinking about it. I think going back to influences collectively, I think a lot of our favourite debut albums are ones where there is a certain rawness to it and a certain naivety is probably the wrong word, but
urgency.
An urgency, yeah. And I think with this single and the album as a whole, we've done exactly that. I think you can hear that across the record. Yeah, I think it's really captured us at a certain time in a certain place, and I think you can't really ask much more from your debut album. So yeah, I mean, I think we're all incredibly proud of it and can't wait for people to hear it.
It was it's interesting. Like for years while playing, we'd get told after gigs that we were quite a lot noisier, or you know, in some cases heavier than we were when we were recording. And you know, I think you can hear that, the big sort of difference between, you know, this record, which does represent more of that, more of our live sound, and you know, that the energy of that as well, especially, I think is where it's, you know, a bit different to everything that we've done before. But as a cohesive piece of work, as Oliver said, is, you know, very proud of it. I think there's a lot in there. It definitely does bear out the sort of diversity of influences that we all have as well. You know, it's it goes a few different places, that album, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And doesn't mind doing it. But you know, really interested to hear what people think about it. That's for sure. It's you know, be a real treat getting that out there in April.
Yeah, and I think with the singles as well, we will see of the sound as well. I think, you know, Another Life is the kind of slightly poppier, slightly more anthemic side of it, but you know, there's quite a lot on there. Some slightly more reflective songs, which are more kind of sort of socially or politically aware. You know, there's one. Our album features a speech by Nye Bevan, who founded the NHS in 1948. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the last song. I can't wait for people to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I've spoilt it. Maybe I shouldn't have said. Yeah. But anyway, just, you know, forget about that.
Forget about Nye Bevan.
Who's Nye Bevan? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And COVID depending, obviously. Are there any big plans for the future?
Big plans.
I mean, we'd love to tour the album, obviously. Sorry, our cat's just on the move. Yeah.
Camera shy.
Yeah, we'd love to do a tour. Yeah, I guess like physically get the album out there, but it's just also unsure at the moment. But I'm really hoping we can do that maybe later in the year.
I think people are very sympathetic as well. You know, everyone's aware that artists can't tour. I mean, at the moment we can't meet up. You know, we wouldn't be able to even do a live stream gig of us all playing together at the moment, because it's not. It wouldn't adhere to the current restrictions. So yeah, I mean, I just do as much as we can given the situation that we're in, and I think people are patient. You know, there are albums that have been released over the last year, which when gigs are back up, you know, I'll buy tickets to that. I'll go and see those shows, even though the album's maybe 2 years, 3 years old by then. I think, you know, when people like you and people like your music, they're happy to. Oh, there's a tail. People are happy to. People are happy to wait. You know, if your music really strikes a chord with someone.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a horrible pun. I wish I hadn't have said that.
Yeah, it was.
If your music resonates with people.
No, that's still, mate, still.
Yeah, I said it out there. It's the toothpaste is out of the tube.
Hitting the right note. The toothpaste is out of the tube. We do hopefully have a gig in Glasgow on, I think it's July the 18th, I think.
At the CCA, yeah.
That's the one with Watch Out the Bear and Muldoons, isn't it? So I don't know why I did that in an accent. I don't know why the toothpaste is out the tube. That'd be amazing. We played up in Glasgow with our label last night from Glasgow. We did that a few. Well, God, it would be a year and a half ago now, wouldn't it? Maybe even 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When we put the EP out. And the energy of that was phenomenal. Like, it was just such a fun show, and really wonderful. And that the label's great, like in the the community of artists that it represents. Quite tight knit. And so you have always have a nice bit of company up there as well when you travel up. So I think that'd be brilliant if we could get that going for the summertime. I think everyone's probably in the same headspace of something to look forward to at the very least, right? So that'd be brilliant. Fingers are crossed, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. If it's like last year, summer, it eased a bit, didn't it?
It did. We had to eat out to help out. Yeah. Rock out to help out.
That's Richie, you,
Come on, Richie.
Get it together.
Yeah. Go, Richie.
Right. So, where is the best place for people to find you, or to listen to you, or contact you?
All our socials are at Hadda Be Band, so on Instagram and Twitter, at Hadda Be Band, and then on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
So the best place to find us is on our socials, really, because that's where we put a lot of upcoming material. It's very distracting.
Sorry.
The new star of the show now.
Yeah. In the limelight. On social media we put a lot of kind of things that we're doing alongside like promoting the album. So kind of snippets from the studio when we're recording, some more kind of behind the scenes stuff, I guess.
We have a mailing list as well.
Gotta mention it. You've got to mention it.
We kind of announce exclusive stuff on there, but people can find that if they go onto our social media stuff. It's all at Hadda Be Band, as Amber said.
I want to see how this mailing
simple.
list grows as well, because we started sending some bits and bobs out over the past couple of weeks, and I sort of remember Nick Cave, like his mailing list. I don't know if you were on it, any of you, but it's fantastic. He's sort of little dispatches. He's a very literary man, of course. And I wondered if we should start doing something like that. Maybe sharing our thoughts.
Probably has more subscribers than us.
He's probably got more than us. Yeah. But maybe that's because of the substantive quality of his work. Maybe if we were to really start.
Are you trying to say that the secret behind Nick Cave's success is emails?
It's email marketing. He's still relevant, right? There's a lot to be said about that, and I think it's because of the direct relationship he shares with his fans such as myself, largely via the email channel.
Largely via the medium of email.
We're on Spotify as well, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, but we're in the process, obviously, because of the name change, getting stuff moved over on Spotify, but you can find us on there.
Yeah, should be on there soon.
Pre-save the single. PR.
Pre-save.
Tip.
Fabulous. And then before we say our goodbyes, is there anything you would like to add?
I'd just like to thank everybody who has stuck with us through the name change. I mean, it's their name. I'd want to show them support, and I think people have. I was quite nervous about changing the name because obviously you build up a reputation around your name, and then suddenly, you've just got a totally new one. My final word is thank you to everyone for bearing with us and supporting us still.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any parting words?
I just want to echo that thought, and maybe we think about some kind of t-shirt deal or something similar for those who have purchased any kind of merchandise in the past bearing the Sam name. Because we want to get that Hadda Be name out there equally. So
we've got loads of Foundlings t-shirts. We're just thinking of drawing a cross through them.
Yeah.
Hadda Be open.
We could try and sell them to that band in the US, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
See if anyone
money back.
Yeah.
But no, look, thank you for having us. That's my final word.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Cheers very much.
Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, no worries.
Thank you for having us.
No worries.
Really appreciate the interviewing us.
And we look forward to hearing your album as well. Keep us posted on what you're doing, and we'll share about for you guys as well.
Yeah, nice one.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian.
And thank you. And hopefully speak to you again very shortly.
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah.
Nice one. Have a lovely weekend.
And more importantly, stay safe.
Yeah.
Yes. Be careful in the snow in Wales.
Currently, it's very, very foggy. No snow yet.
Okay.
So we'll see. Right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice one.
Bye.
So tough, but I'm still afraid.